on this computer. All righty. Well, I think we sort of did some casual introductions, but I'll go through them all again. We have Corey. I'm going to say Corey Robert because I can't pronounce your actual last name. But he is the Central Florida local chair. We have Marion and Mimi Taylor, who are co-chairs for Okaloosa County local. Michelle Rivard, who is, how do you want me to, she works with me in DC. I don't know if she has agreed to be the state chair again, but she is the person, my go-to in DC. And then we have Darity Van Orden Michelson, who is our state chair, and y'all may recognize her because she presented from Idaho. And then Sierra Knight, who was the Distinguished Young Woman of Texas for 2018 and has served as the Texas participant chair, and they have a lot of applications, so y'all can imagine what a big job she has. But we love having our alums. Mimi is also an alum. She's from 2016. Just love having our young women come back and inspire the next generation. So we're going to start off talking about, first things. Did any of you have any questions? I'm assuming that all of you had a chance to see the workshop video. Okay. Oh, whoops, here comes another state chair. All righty. Let's see. Hi, Stacy. It's nice to see you. Y'all, this is Stacy Kimmerling, and she is the state chair in North Dakota. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi. It's good to see you. We're so glad you could join us. We were just getting started. You have had a chance to see the workshop video, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, these breakout sessions are mostly going to be an opportunity for you guys, anyone who has utilized the the digital format, or who has questions about the digital format, or who has questions about any of the other workshop presentations that we were in the video to discuss. And it basically, if you have any questions about anything, what you saw last night and Thursday night, this is your opportunity to just kind of share ideas, ask questions, and be heard if you have concerns. So we'll start out with, I think everybody here today well, Darity is the only one, I guess, because Idaho's locals have been running. Y'all have not started your local programs yet in Florida, have you?
Florida's is just about to start, I believe, next month.
Okay. All righty.
Our program week, prep week, starts July 6th with our program July 11th.
Okay, gotcha. So y'all have y'all been having meetings with your class thus far?
We've been meeting, but we have been doing kind of a combination of virtual Zoom meetings, one-on-one meetings virtually, and we've met once so far, following all of the guidelines in person.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk, since y'all are so close to your local program, and I know Corey will want to chime in as well. What I'm hearing across the nation is decisions. Everyone is looking at their public health departments, keeping in touch, with what public safety is for their communities. But what I'm hearing from the program volunteers is that the decision between a live and a virtual program is being made by y'all's venues. What is your venue doing? First, I'll ask Okaloosa, since y'all are so close, and then I'll ask Corey what Central is doing. What have y'all encountered thus far?
So our venue, and we said, go ahead, do whatever you want to do. Loose, which is good and bad. So they are allowing us to have our program in our venue.
Mm-hmm.
We are putting some practices in place. So the venue being at 50%, the venue holds like 450, so we're only going to allow 225. We will never reach that amount anyway.
Okay.
We're putting certain things where we have door openers, so you don't have to touch the door. we will be scanning, thermometer scanning our girls every night of the week when they come in. So starting with prep week, they're going to come in, they'll open the door, they'll come in, we'll scan them, we'll have hand sanitizer. Then we're not allowing anyone in the venue for prep week, only the girls. And we will not have them backstage. We're only going to have them socially distanced in the audience.
Gotcha.
And then we are not bringing food in. We're not bringing waters in. They all have to bring all their own food. And then the night of the program, we are having door openers, a virtual. We're not handing out programs, so we're having somebody do a digital program so they can access it digitally.
Uh-huh.
We will have like sheets of paper so that we'll have somebody walk a party to some seats and then tape on either side of the seats 2 chairs and then chairs in front so they can social distance that group. And then we're live streaming it on Facebook for those people who don't feel comfortable. We're suggesting people wear masks, but people are really funny around here because we have so many tourists coming in and nobody's wearing a mask. So, and then we're going to do whatever we can out backstage and then every night sanitizing the auditorium.
Gotcha. Okay, so now
I make a little, so a lot of my locals have been trying to do the Facebook streaming, and a few of them have had Facebook shut them down because Facebook has an algorithm that will monitor, and if it hears music that's copyrighted, it'll just touch your live performance.
I was just about to say that they are. That is the problem with the live streams, and I think I touched on it in the workshop. I did not know that they would shut it down, which is actually it's almost better that they will shut it down than you later getting a
Fine or
a letter saying you owe us $5,000 for copyright infringement.
Like a private YouTube link and send that to people, and then you don't run into the same issue.
Yes. The unlisted YouTube links, we are not having any problems at all. We always put in the description that we do not own the rights to the music, but as long as it's unlisted, because it's not, one, they can tell it's not monetized, and two, it's not available for the general viewing public. We have not run into any problems with that. So,
Okay. Thank you.
what about you, Corey? I don't know what kind of venue you use. Do you have you been notified that there's going to be an issue?
Last year, we actually used a girlfriend of mine's gym where I was doing a lot of the bungee fitness classes.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, she is going out of business. So started to reach out to some other venues, and I got a lot of kind of responses. And I'm like, you know what? It's not even worth, like, once I started seeing the numbers increasing, we just hit another, I think, 9,500 down here
Yesterday.
in Florida. So I was like, you know what? Because I think it's like 11 to 13 counties.
Right.
I would just assume make it easier for everybody. We're going to go to a completely digital for the at-large.
Right.
And it kind of helps me with the new news.
Right.
I don't have that bond. Haven't met the girls, but we can get them in, get them going.
Right.
And then just trying to do some prep stuff ahead of time.
Right. Well, and that's where I loved Arian's presentation, Zoomunity. They really, and you guys that have state reps, Sierra and Darity and Stacy and y'all have seen Brooklyn, so y'all know. Are your girls saying that, obviously this has been a and by the way, this is Mark. He is an NST and logistic team person, so hello. He's sitting in now, but and also my husband. But so
sometimes.
So are y'all getting good feedback from the community spirit that the girls are getting?
Yeah, the other night when we were with Brooklyn, they were all on texting. And
Oh,
she
good.
was, that's my BFF from whatever state. And I got her graduation invitation from such and such state. So
She sent me a letter. Like, it's definitely different because they're not in person, so they're not talking about the
Right.
same things. It's fun to see how they've definitely made these bonds over social media, over text. They have Snapchat groups. They made that cool TikTok. Like, they've definitely embraced this new normal for what the program looks like, and they've run with it.
Well,
And so
good.
she loves talking about it when we're watching everyone, and she'll be like, oh, by the way, this person did the. Yeah.
Well, good. I was really impressed. Kendra actually was the one who recommended I reach out to Arian and Dora because they pretty much ran with the community building activities that was presented. So it's a great tool for you guys who are going to have to use this. I do want to know, I know that Sierra, because her state chair was on the meeting yesterday, and she said as of right now, y'all are still trying to, plan for their winter program, usually Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. Stacy and Darity, y'all usually have early winter, late fall type programs, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mine's usually that first weekend in October. The girls show up the last Sunday in September, and we have, kind of rotate into the program first week of October. Idaho's not having the numbers that other states are having, and we're supposed to be restriction free after this weekend actually. So I don't know what's going to happen, but at the same time with everything else closing down. So we are looking at a couple of different, like a mini, because I have regional directors, of which I didn't put this in the theme, but in the last 3 or 4 days since we talked about this, having a mini state program with each of the regional directors getting together with girls from a couple of areas, Eastern Idaho, Southern Idaho, the Boise area, and Northern Idaho all together, and doing the recordings and do a service project and get to intermingle and do all the recording, which we would then put together and broadcast a few weeks later.
Ah.
We're looking at that as an option. So then they still kind of get a state experience as far as they get to meet the other girls in person and have that. But now we've got some kind of crazy numbers. We're wondering if we can get venues, because if the trend that we're seeing nationwide continues, trying to find venues that suit our needs may not happen by the end of September. We don't know where we're going to be. So now I thought about that for 3 or 4 days, and now I'm looking at maybe we just need to go straight pure digital and forget it. So my mind has not decided yet. I can't, but I really want to try to do the mini state thing, just because I feel like one of the things that I talked about in the Zoom Unity is give them this unique experience and make it be an actual experience. And that's what I'm so hung up on, is how do I take what normally is this really positive week with all this massive interaction and convert it into some videos that you film from home and watch with your family and still get the connection. So I'm trying to maintain the integrity of the experience. Obviously, I can't do it the same way, so I have to really think outside the box, and I'm not a good outside the box thinker. So I'm incorporating lots of other people's feedback and ideas, and welcome to hear anything you guys have to say about what you're doing, because I'm trying to come up with an answer.
Right. Well, and you touched on something that I keep finding is people that, even if they can get into a venue, I think that Okaloosa County's situation is very rare. I have not heard anyone who has said that. Pretty much, I know, and Linda just joined us from Georgia. They got kicked out of their venue. South Carolina got kicked out of their venue. I had some locals in Kentucky who were allowed to use their venue, but they were having to hire,
a cleaning crew probably.
Yeah, one of those, and not just a cleaning crew, but one of those
We specialize in COVID.
Yes, those people who clean up after murders, those kind of,
forensic.
You know what I'm talking about, the massive ones. That, and they were having to hire school officials for every room that they would be using in the school, so that, yes, people to monitor that, they were doing the social distancing and all that kind of stuff. So what about you, Stacy? I know that you're kind of where we are. Are you having issues as well?
So we've kind of been up in the air for a really long time. North Dakota right now, our numbers are super low, and it's possible. Yeah, I knock on wood, like we're doing great up here. But at the same point, I mean, North Dakota has always been kind of a low-key program, and I'm hoping that at some point we can change that. I don't think this is going to be the year for that.
No.
clearly. But I'm also wondering if this is a really good opportunity for me to try and expand to the other side of the state. You know, most of the girls that we've gotten have been, you know, within maybe a 50, 60, 100-mile radius.
Right.
Because we're in the very eastern part, almost to Minnesota. What if we tried to get more, you know, to the western part of the state? And maybe going all digital this year might be a really good opportunity for us to even get our name out there for that. So
I love that thought.
yeah. I'm kind of leaning towards the all digital. Since we don't have any locals, I don't have to worry about any of that. You know, just try and get the word out of what the program is and try and get anyone involved that we can, so that maybe next year we can do a couple at-larges and make that a bigger deal and get more girls involved. And, you know, the biggest part for me for this program really is the life skills portion. And we had we were so fortunate to have such awesome presenters last year that I'm hoping we can get some of those back this year and just do it digitally instead.
Yep. Well, and I will tell you, I had hoped to have a presentation this year on some people who had like yourself had reached out. So maybe next year you can do a presentation, Stacy. Would love
for the warning, you know, a year in advance. I might
exactly. Well, you know, I hear a lot of people asking me, you know, how do I reach out and find community partners? Because what we find is if you can rope someone in for a community partner to come in and present a life skills workshop, they see the girls, they get to talk to these girls, they understand, you know, what our program is doing, and then they want to have a bigger, you know, role in it. They want to be a, you know, a volunteer, that kind of thing. So that's always a really good idea. And I will tell you, Maryland actually created a state level committee. They have a committee that does their life skills workshops and recruiting presenters, and they actually have some coming up. I'm going to ask them if we can video them, because I do have the playlist in my National Field Director YouTube channel that if you don't have people yet that you can bring in to do these, you can use these. Or if we're stuck in this digital format where we can't meet in person, these are some new topics and some new faces and new workshops to share. So we are trying to do that. Linda, yes.
I was going to share with you, Lisa, you know, our state week, like you mentioned, we got kicked out. So our showcase has gone digital. But our girls, our host families and the girls' families still want the girls to get together. So we're forging ahead with bringing the girls up for a full state week. And so now that we don't have all the rehearsal times and all that stuff, we're filling all that in with more workshops. So what I was going to suggest is some of them are going to be by Zoom anyway. So we can certainly record them, make them available to anybody that wants them. We've got a really great, some of the people that I have coming in through Zoom, one of which I love is a friend of mine that I've known through Twitter for a long time. He lives actually in DC, so clearly it's not somebody that we can bring in. And so those of you that are thinking about digital formats for workshops and stuff, this is the opportunity to really reach out, because travel is no longer an issue, and you don't have to think about putting someone up or that type of a thing, paying expenses. But this gentleman that I have coming in does user experience, user interface things, and he designs that stuff, but he's also an artist. So one of the things that he really works with and does a lot is a method called sketch notes. So I don't know if everybody knows about that, but we all know traditionally how we take notes in class and we write down things and we make bullet points and that type of thing out of it. What he does actually is he adds illustrations. He takes those notes from different conferences or different things that he's done, rewrites them with actual imagery, different little doodles, and it actually works really well for your right and left brain, so that when you're doing things and you're studying things, it engages both of that and solidifies things. So if you have people that are visual learners and that type of thing, it works really well for them. So one of the reasons why I love doing that is because me being an artist, of course, my brain works that way. And it's not a it's not a tool that's taught in school. So most of these students, you know, as they're preparing even to go off to college or whatever, it's just another fun way of doing things. And it may work for some people and it may not, but it's just opening the girls' worlds up to different things that are out there. So he's one that, of course, we never would have been able to bring in because he's in DC. So I'm really excited about that. But again, some of the other ones that we're going to have, they're going to be digital. So we can certainly record those if you want
Please
them
do.
to take a look at that, and I'll send them.
I was going to ask all of y'all in this session today, if you do a digital presentation for your girls, or if you are doing a live presentation and you have the opportunity, I mean, it can be just a cell phone video. I would love to have any videos, because even if it's not something that somebody wants to show their girls, it might be an idea that they use to bring in somebody locally for their own programs. Speaking of DC, Michelle?
Yeah, no, thank you. So I really have a question about interactivity, because that's easy enough with icebreakers.
Right.
But when it comes to life skills workshops, has anyone, done any virtually and been really pleased with the amount of interactivity with the girls that goes beyond, Q&A after somebody makes a presentation? And then also, there's real time constraints that I know I am experiencing with some college and other students who I mentor, that we max out at 30 to 45 minutes. And these are people who are very, very smart and very committed. And, they've told me, because they're like, this is great material, but like 45 minutes we're fried.
Right. Right. And I think that Arian touched on that in her presentation, the Zoom fatigue, the screen fatigue. So I do think, I don't know, but I'm willing to ask. We will do a, Sierra and Mimi will remember, we do a pretty in-depth survey of our 50 participants after it's about a month after, is it right? Does that seem right? Or is it further into? Anyway, we do a pretty comprehensive survey asking them, what did you like? What did you not like? What would you like to have seen more of? That kind of thing. So I imagine that when Tara sends that out this year, it will be different because of the different circumstances of the national finals. But I do know that one of the life skills workshops that we premiered for 2019, the class of 2019, Regions Bank came in and did a financial workshop with them that was very similar to the game of life. The girls, got to, I guess they were giving out cards that said, you have this much, in salary, and this is where you're going to live. So they played this really phenomenal game. I know that earlier this week, the class of 2020 did a digital version of that. I have not heard how it went because I'm, not part of any of the participant stuff, but I will have access to that kind of information in the coming weeks and can share it with you guys as it trickles back to me. But, the whole digital thing was not designed to be used for states. And it wasn't designed for like what Corey is going to do either. We didn't mean, when we rolled it out in February, it was really designed to help states like Texas and South Dakota that don't have a whole lot of locals, but have a big land mass. And so it was designed to be able to bring to bring the program to communities where you only had, one or two volunteers. So a lot of what's in the handbook is going to change. We will be sitting down in July. I will be putting out a revision hopefully, crossing my fingers, at the beginning of August, so that it will incorporate a lot of what we have learned, because when we put it out, oops, here comes Eve Lynch. If you see people come in, will you please let me know?
No, I'm gonna make them hide. Wait and find out.
You're so mean.
I
Hey, Eve.
I am wearing my logistics shirt today.
I don't know where Eve went.
Oh, logistics.
But yeah, so basically, you know, we've learned a lot of things. One of the most important things that we learned is when we first set it up, and you know, you'll see this in the handbook, is that we suggested that during for self-expression that you do self-expression after interview while you had the girls and the judges on a video conference. One of the things that I keep hearing is that's not working well at all. And as y'all saw with nationals, that is not how we did it at nationals. Since the pandemic, I've had several locals when I make their evaluation videos, which if you need any help, I know you have committee members and production out the wazoo, but if you need any help, I can do it. That's what I've been doing most of this pandemic, is helping people get their judges evaluation videos ready. But what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, self-expression. Instead, what we found is have them do a video submission the way they do with talent and fitness, or have them do that first when they first come in, because what's happening is if they do the interview and then go back into the waiting room and then come back in, it just seems like it's an extension of the interview, whereas it's more of a true public speaking presentation if that's what they start with. So that's one thing. The other thing for those of you who are state chairs, what Linda and I are doing, because Linda is transitioning after her state program in Georgia, she's transitioning to the NST team with me, and she is helping me with South Dakota. Is this how? No, New York. She's helping with New York, but I'm doing the same thing in the South Dakota. What we're going to do is we are going to do an at-large for any girls who want to go ahead, and it will be 6 weeks before the virtual state program. So what we're going to do, and you may find this interesting, Stacy, is we're going to do a digital at-large. The girls will be asked to, you know, submit scholastics the same. They will submit a fitness sequence, which is just the 4 8 counts spotlight type thing, and then we will do, you know, a public speaking with them and their interview. So it'll be all the same, and it's not mandatory. You do not have to do the at-large to participate in the state program, but if you do, you get the opportunity to represent your community. So these girls who choose to go through the at-large will get a medallion, a bronze medallion. They will be named the Distinguished Young Women of something, you know, wherever. Where? Titletown. We shouldn't say Titletown. Anyway, of Pea Ridge. That's where I grew up. Sorry. So anywho, so they're gonna, you know, be the Distinguished Young Woman of Pea Ridge. The girls who choose not to will still be able to participate at the state level if they want, but they will be state finalists for New York instead of being, you know, Niagara Falls is Distinguished Young Woman. I just pulled that out of my head. But, you know, anyway, so what we are finding, and this may be interesting to you, and I don't know how many people you know on the other side of North Dakota, but what we are finding is that girls and parents are much more likely to actually stick with the program and come to the state program if they have that title, if they have that medallion. They feel like they have already accomplished something, and Linda has already, she's doing double duty. A lot of what she is doing for Georgia, we will be able to incorporate for our New York girls as well. And what I realized in this is, even though typically for Montana and South Dakota, which are the two programs that I have been traveling to, you know, since I started to put on a one-day program, I can make their programs, even though the one-day showcase will still probably happen in the future. This year we probably are going digital. But what I've discovered is I can use these digital platforms to give them even though they're not coming in for a week like they do in Idaho or Georgia, they are still going to get a full experience because we're going to be able to do some, a fitness thing. So the New York volunteer that we have who's going to act as the choreographer, she has already agreed to have a Zoom meeting where she can, field questions. Nicole did that with the national class, some sort of, fitness face-to-face call-in Zoom thing. And so we are going to be able to use these digital platforms in ways that we never envisioned, 6 months ago. So we do want you guys to realize that this is mostly a tool that we are using out of necessity and desperation, but it is something that we can continue to use going forward. And I was thinking when Darity was talking earlier, because all of y'all are in states, well, where I think it's really super important for states like Idaho and Indiana and Kentucky and Mississippi and Alabama that have 25 plus local programs. Regional directors are super, super important. But even in small programs where you just have, like Texas just has one, Florida has 6 or 7, Georgia, the same thing. And Linda and I did this when we were in Georgia together. 1 or 2 regional directors still takes a lot of pressure off your state committee and gives better lines of communication and makes it just easier all around because and so this is one thing I think, Stacy, for you going forward and y'all in Texas also to think about is volunteers who might necessarily not want to be in charge of something big, like getting all the meals for the week, or, something like that, or someone who doesn't live necessarily right in your hometown but lives 3 hours away. They can be a regional coordinator or regional director in their area and work with, reaching out to volunteers, reaching out to girls, making the brand more known so that you can expand throughout. Because, all of us are in the idea of we want to bring this program to as many young women as possible to empower them and to give them the tools to be successful. And, so I think that, yes, ma'am.
As you're saying that, I'm just thinking about if I was in a state that didn't have 36 locals, right? And wanted to cover, one of the things that I would possibly go to is like the alumni list from past participations or even the national, like where have my, not even just my state winners, but maybe winners who have moved to my state or former participants who now live in parts of my state, because then you can find them and reach out. And maybe, Stacy, you have past participants living on the other side of North Dakota, but you don't know that until you look at the list. You go, oh, so-and-so lives in this town. They would be a great person to reach out to ask if they could be that coordinator to help get to the schools and get the word out and just kind of start coordinating for your at-large, because it gives you a base that you then can build on if you've got somebody in that area. So that having that alumni list, just even the nationwide one, because they end up all over the place. Like I have Idaho alumni in states all over the place, right?
Another choose to move to Western North Dakota.
Well, the other thing that's really cool is, I don't know how many of y'all are on, well, except for you, Corey. I'm so sorry. You and Mark, because you're men. Y'all don't get invited to the Distinguished Network. I think all the rest of us are in there. But that's another great place that you can always go on there and say, hey, I'm looking for someone in this area. Shelby found housing for internships, summer internships through the Distinguished Network. We've had some people, say, I have graphic art skills. Does anybody need graphic art? So we've seen a lot of that kind of thing. So please do utilize the network. Corey, I can
family members for that matter.
exactly.
Mothers, grandparents.
You can also post in the Facebook group page. So I hope all of y'all are on the volunteer group page as well. If you're not, just friend me and I can add you. But the digital platforms in Facebook, we have been able to share ideas and find resources through there as well. Did you have a question, Stacy?
What was that?
Oh, I thought you raised your hand.
Where do we find the alumni lists?
The alumni list right now, the only one that we have that y'all can see, as a whole, is the digital judging list, which is updated once a month. It's in the resources section, I believe, of the online library. We have been, in 63 years, we have been woefully lax as a national office in keeping up with our alums. And so we are trying really hard. We have a database started. We are still working on getting it. It is just state and national representatives. So we have reached out to all of the national ones and a large portion of the state, but by not all of the 50 through the 63 years. But all you have to do is ask me, and I can do some culling of different databases that we do have. I will warn you, pre-2016, it's all pretty sketchy. Pre-2008, what we have is probably obsolete. It is probably their information when they participated. So, like, if I get, I can give you the 1997 class, but likely they've all moved somewhere because they grew up and they went to college and they got married and they have different names and, et cetera, et cetera. But, that's where I think that it's really good to use the two Facebook pages, the volunteer Facebook page, because a lot of people who are still volunteers, with the organization, even though they have moved, they will be able to say, oh, hey, like Larry Fromm is a real good one. He's always saying, we have a San Diego girl who lives in, maybe Western Montana, or not Montana, North Dakota. So a lot of people will say, oh, I know of an alum who has moved into, the area. So go ahead and anytime, please go in and say, I'm looking for a judge, or I'm looking for recruiting help. I'm looking for anything you need. The Distinguishing Women Network and Family, I tend to think of the network as the alum people and the family as all of us volunteers. They're really, really good to reach out and help each other find resources and people. Is that you, Rick?
Me.
Okay, it didn't come up with your name. You guys, I don't know how many of y'all have met Rick. He's another NST. He is joining us now. That definitely did not come up as Rick. It's a number. Is that your phone number? Anyway. But does anyone else have any questions about, yes, Marion?
The library documents, isn't there also a document that has alumni?
No, I don't think there's anything in there. There's an alumni judges list, and then there's the digital judges list.
Okay, so the alumni judges list, I found somebody who lives in my area that I didn't know she had done it, and she happened to be a friend of mine. I had no idea. Now she's doing our fitness.
She was
cool.
a rep, and now she's
So that alumni list is a great resource also.
Cool. Actually, that alumni list is not just judges. I think it's volunteers. Basically, anytime y'all reach out to your alums, they can use the update my information link on our website, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I think if you go in, you can click on alumni, and then there's a link to update your alumni information. But one of the spots on that form is, are you interested in judging? Are you interested in volunteering? When we get updates that say yes to either of those, that's where it goes, is onto that. Those don't get updated as much. Those get updated about once a quarter as opposed to monthly. The judges list, the digital judges list, because one of the things about using a digital program is we ask that you use experienced DYW people. They don't necessarily have to be super experienced judges, but they have to be people who understand the mission, and not someone because in a live showcase with 5 judges, we want to bring more people into our organization. We want to bring more people exposure to us. So we do recommend you have one judge who's new to DYW. For a digital program, we are asking, because you're not constrained by having to put people up. You're not constrained with people who are not willing to travel. Because it is a digital format, we are asking that you try to stick with people who understand DYW's mission and purpose and judging. So that one I am updating regularly, and please, like Stacy said, take advantage of the weird and wacky circumstances. Get a volunteer, a judge from another place. One of the Texas committee people actually lives in Canada, and I think she would love to judge, so then you could have a Canadian judge. But take advantage of this, and I love that Stacy said this may be the year to do it. And I love that y'all are thinking positive, because to be honest, a lot of us here in Mobile have been very sad this week. This has been 2 weeks of heartache and heartbreak, but you guys always make me feel better. And whenever I get to deal with the volunteers, this is why this is the job for me. I love working with you guys. I hope all of you know that you can come to me at any time. During the pandemic, I'm not in the office anymore. I do have both my work cell and my office phone number forwarded to here at the house. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. There is no question too small. There is no anything too little for me to help you guys with. I do try to be available to all of you guys between the hours of 8 a.m. Central Time and 9 p.m. Central Time. That doesn't mean I'm always sitting in front of my computer, but I'm keeping a good eye on it, and I almost always have my phone with me. So those hours, do not hesitate to reach out. I know you guys are all still having real lives. You are all, some of you, have low numbers, and y'all have gone back to real life. But I want to be available to you guys as you need it. And so, please reach out to me and let me know. Text is usually the most reliable way to get me. Email is next. You can always call.
I have a question. You said
Sure.
You're going to be updating the flexible format handbook.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you're going to be making some changes so that it can be used more at a state level or something like that. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that'll be out in August, and I have to make a decision by July 20th. So if there's going to be anything like massively major that I'm going to need to know about, okay, all right, I won't.
No, mainly the thing is like in the beginning, it was a lot of theory. So we were saying, these are the video conferencing platforms. Well, now that we have all been in quarantine for 4 months, everybody's a Zoom expert. There are people who have used Google Hangouts and Google Meet. And I think that Google Meet has the same, has a lot of the same things that we use, the putting them in the waiting room and that kind of thing. That's one of the things you need to be able to do, is to be able to move the girls in and out, and then still be able to talk to them when they're not in the room with the judges. So it's stuff like that. I'm also going to be clarifying some of the stuff, whereas in the beginning, we didn't make it clear that when you are using a digital judging panel, they should not just be given the evaluation videos and said, to see, because one of the things we do is we want to keep the integrity of the judging process. So while we can be flexible on things like workshops and rehearsals and showcases, we don't want to have flexibility there. That is one of the things we want to continue to control well. So the only person who is in, your video conferencing for your judges is your judges chair. All of the scores from your judges go directly to your tabulator. That way there's, no people, extra people seeing scores that shouldn't. So they go straight to the tabulator. The other thing is that what we want y'all to do is use the Zoom or Google Meet platform to share the screen and show the judging videos, as opposed to sending the judges links, because the judges need to be watching these videos in real time and scoring like they would at a live showcase. We don't want the judges to pause, rewind, watch a girl 3 times. We don't want them to nitpick one girl's talent and not everybody else's. So the best way of doing it is to have your judges chair share the videos through the platform screen. Or if you can't get your platform screen to work, you can email them right before you need the scores. So don't send it out on Tuesday and say, I need your scores by Friday. What you say is you call all your judges or get them on your Zoom and say, I'm about to email you the link. The video, the talent video is 20 minutes. You have 25 minutes to turn your scores in to the tabulator. And then, the other thing that is a nice thing about the digital program is you don't have to do it all in one day the way we do in a live situation. So if you want to have, one day that you do all your judges interviews, then have the judges, once all the interviews are done, have those sent to the tabulator. And then you can have another video conferencing with your judges and show them all of the fitness submissions and all of the talent submissions and self-expression if you want, and then have them send all those in. So again, we're trying to keep a tight rein and a tight control over the judging procedure to keep the integrity of our judging, but everything else is pretty much, open to interpretation and flexible this year.
Okay.
So.
Can I offer some technical
Sure.
tips about videos?
Yeah, sure.
So, as a person who does some amateur photography and stuff, I tend to watch the videos and I have questions or technical, views on some of the stuff. So if you notice, like in the intro videos of the national program, they seem very clipped at the front and back. That's because there's not enough space. Like they hit start and they went, and as soon as the last word was said, they hit end and they send it in. So there's no space at the end for whoever's compiling the video to have it fade or do anything else. So give them some tips on the idea of hit play,
wait a couple of seconds,
and then go
start,
into it, because
right?
then whoever compiles the video has a little bit of room to play with, so it can transition. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, and you don't see it in the national video, but I've had the opportunity to watch Lisa compile some local videos. Help folks have some ideas about where they should be doing their stuff. So, I don't even know where it was, but I see a lot of phones, like you set the phone on the floor, and you're standing up and you do your fitness video, then you get down and maybe you're between your bed and your dresser, in your bedroom. Maybe you can find a better spot that has some more space where you can spread out and do that, or have someone, hold the phone or whatever, go outside for some of those things. I think it impedes the participants' ability to do everything they can if they're stuck between their dresser and their bed in a very small space trying to do a fitness routine, in particular.
He is talking about, we actually had a local fitness girl who literally we had two in the same program who were in their bedrooms next to their bed. One of them used their bed to push themselves off the ground at one point, and the other one was doing push-ups and got stuck under her bed. So yeah, it's interesting. It's super.
So
Yeah,
give them some pointers, and some
right.
ideas about, so it is different, think about videography. Not everyone thinks about it because a lot of folks are used to, hey, I'm just going to take a selfie or something here, or I'm filming something else. It's different when you're trying to actually, create
Something
the
that
space
needs to be evaluated.
to film you,
Right.
for an evaluation. So just a little bit of thought into that, and maybe a primer to help the folks, be prepared. Because you've seen everything in the national program, I think, from people who had, maybe drones that followed them around in their talent or their fitness, very professional quality, to folks who were using, earlier versions of, the smartphone down in the 4 or the 6 level of the iPhone. But it was still able to evaluate the talent. So as long as they had the space and they weren't, bumping into a wall or something else, the person can do what they need to do. So just some thoughts as they do that. And, it doesn't have to be, overthought or professional lighting or anything like that, but just give them the space.
That was one of the things that will go in there, Darity, part of the handbook is a sample participant handbook that y'all can customize and use to send out to your participants. I am going to be incorporating some of this stuff, like always, have someone else video you. Don't prop it up on your table and do it yourself. Get someone else to do it. Fitness, a lot of people are trying to do it, in their bedroom. Go out, wait till there's a pretty day, go outside and do it in your front yard. Gotten a lot of videos in people's yards. They are just as, as they're just as evaluatable as an indoor. It doesn't have to be done that way. Also, horizontal views are better than vertical for the videos and that kind of thing. Michelle, did you have a question for the volunteers?
Yes, kind of an open-ended question about how do you retain girls, in particular in this virtual environment, and in particular when you've got individuals on the hook, maybe who are from high schools or areas in your county or in your state who are not familiar with the program. And I ask this because in DC, where we had a program in 16 that Kendra ran when she was in Lisa's job, and 17 and 18, and in 18 that I was running it, I had over 35 girls sign up. And then on day one, I had 15 show up.
And then we had 3 show up, for the showcase. So
yeah, I mean, in that case, I bit off more than I could chew in terms of wanting to do a lot of life skills and other practices and professional development. So live and learn. But again, to go from that like 35 to 15. So again, I'd love to hear like your retention with individuals who don't know about the program. And then they have their parents saying this is a great thing. They have their school counselors saying this is a great thing. They have the DC school system promoting it. And they don't show up.
Yeah, can I say kind of what we're doing, Lisa? Do you mind?
No, not at all.
Okay, so Georgia has been that way. I mean, we kind of have, most of our class is at large. And the thing that we have found is that some of our better retention has been when we have regional at-larges. So we can have girls in that area. We have a volunteer who will help at least hold a one-day kind of event. And we don't even put on a whole showcase. Like the girls come in and they go through the evaluations, but they're there live and in person. And like Lisa mentioned, because they qualify as a state finalist, and we actually have a point threshold that they have to meet. It's not just if you come, you just automatically come forward, but we don't, share that with them, but that's kind of what we're encouraging, and we've kind of set that standard for ourselves. But they go through that when they're there in person in a one-day thing, and we've done it, and Lisa was here, we did the same thing, and the girls would show up at like 8:30 and we were done by 1 o'clock. So they're giving up like a morning on a Saturday, and come in and meet their panel, and they, just go through their evaluations, but they're there in person. So now we've started building that relationship with them. And that helps because then the girls have that kind of, they're beginning that emotional tie-in. This year, what we've had is we were fortunate enough to have most of our evaluations in person before everything shut down. We did have some that had to go after, and they went full digital. And so what we did with those girls is we actually were providing them, we scheduled emails that went out that had workshop information in it. So there was regular contact with us. They had videos, they had documents, we could chat with them a bit through that type of thing. We have a group me that we set up, so we were in contact with the girls. So the medallion that Lisa mentioned, as they go through and they hit that threshold, we can say, yes, you've qualified as a state finalist. That hits a lot differently for these girls than just saying, oh, I'm qualifying, because it's so easy for them just to back out because there's no emotional buy-in. But when they have that medallion and now they've been named a representative, there's a little bit more of an incentive for them, because now they're like, wow, okay, I can actually move on to the next level. So that's helped some. This year, we also had some Zoom meetings with all of that, so the girls can kind of get to see each other. And before we even, or like our state program doesn't happen for another couple of weeks. So we have 24 girls in our state finalist class, and all but 2 of them came from a local program. So everybody else is an at-large. So, and they're spread out over the state. They're not, it's not like I'm doing this with my best friend. So they don't even know each other. So they're really having that kind of connection and starting to build that. They were the ones that actually pushed us more to make sure we had state week happen in person so that they can come and finally meet each other and see each other. So I think having the regional areas, that helps keeping everybody from trying to travel to one place. For DC, it may not be an issue for you. You may have that where it's not so spread out that you can have everybody come to one location and do an at-large qualifier, that qualifies them as a state finalist, so that they have all of that together. They see everything, they experience the program at least once before they come to the state program. And that's a great opportunity to tell them then, here's what's at the state program. We're going to have it. If you have it as a one day, you're going to be there. We have rehearsals. We'll put on a really fun show. You get to do a lot of the same things that you already did here, but now we're going to enhance it a little bit more. And in between the time that you have that evaluation, that at-large evaluation, and your state program, it's the regular contact that you have with them that keeps them moving along. And the emails are great because you can go in on one day at your house, write up all the emails that you want, and then actually schedule them to send, so you don't even have to remember that you've got to send them out, and it'll automatically do that. And as long as your girls know, hey, every Monday there's an email that's coming out for you, you'll just check for it, they'll look for it. So I think that might help. I know that it's made a difference for us. Our at-large retention has grown tremendously because of it. And now we're just at a point now where we're trying to get the word out so that it grows from there. Because what we would love to do in Georgia is we would love to have 500 girls participate in the state, even if only 26 are state qualifiers. That's not the point of our program. The point of our program is to have 500 girls participate. And so that's trying to go from there. But I think you have to start in that small space.
I'm curious to ask Sierra what y'all have done, because in the last 2 years, and this is what's super interesting. So Sierra started this as a freshman in college, and the state chair was in Saudi Arabia. Up until the last 2 years, Texas, as big as Texas is, both in terms of landmass and population, they've had, 3 to 5 girls. How many girls were in your state class, Sierra?
4.
4, yeah. See? They have managed the last 2 program years, 19 and 20, they have had 10 girls apiece, which when you're going from 3 or 4 to 10, it's a big, big deal. What have y'all done differently the last 2 years?
I honestly don't know what would be different because I don't know what they were doing before.
Right.
But we get about 2,000 applicants for
Huh.
every year. And then about 70 or 80 of them say, yes, I want to do it. And then by the time it comes around, we've got 10 that actually do it.
But 10 is amazing. Amazing.
Compared to 3 or 4, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, all we do is like when I get an applicant, I send them an email that's like, here's what we're about. Reply to this email like if you're still interested. And right now the emails look a little bit different because normally it'll be like, this is the date of the program and that kind of stuff, but we don't have any of that right now. So it's just like, we got your application. We want you to know we have it. And we'll send you more information when we have it. But yeah, so once they say they're interested.
Do they know that you're young and like close to their own age? I'm wondering if that has had something to do with it.
I did start putting MISS, Miss Sierra, on my emails that way because I kept getting like, thank you, Miss Knight. Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, I feel so old. So I put that on there just so like maybe they kind of would get that idea.
Well, I just didn't know if maybe something that you were sending them was because literally it went from like 4 to 10, and that's a huge, 150. I don't know. I can't do math in my head. But anyway, it's a huge increase. And then last year they had, 10 again, which just floors me. And I know from doing, I don't get 2,000 applications, but in Montana and South Dakota, I still get, 40 or 50 applications, and then I'm repeatedly getting 2 or 3 girls. So, I mean, something y'all did is working. Are you just sending more emails to them?
Well, I think I was following, because from what I understand is that Jennifer was running it, and then she stepped out for a year or two, and Kaylee Vick was doing it. And so I think maybe Kaylee just didn't have quite the amount of resources and maybe experience that Jennifer had. So I think maybe that year, those 2 years were maybe just kind of a slump.
No, because when we were there in '97, there were 5.
Okay. I don't really know the history of. It's hard to say what we're doing different because I don't know what we were doing before.
Yeah.
Really,
well, whatever it is, it's been great. I think that's it, Michelle. I think a lot of engagement is what is helping, which is why, I keep going back to Stacy saying this year, let's just, really use this digital, because everybody is socially isolated from each other. People are watching their emails better. That's one of the things I know my kids, when they were in high school, they never checked their email. And then they went to college. And as recently as, Austin's junior year, he got in trouble with the city of Athens because he got a jury duty summons that he didn't get because he didn't check his mailbox, his real mailbox. So I think the pandemic is teaching kids to learn to use the grown-up thing, your mailbox and your inbox on your email and not just texting and Snapchatting. So, yeah. So I think that we can take advantage of a little bit more of that this year.
Thank you, Lisa. And also thank you, Sierra and Linda, because those are very concrete suggestions about the making contact, the ongoing communication, and then of course bounding the experience and the time sink.
Yeah, and Michelle, I think Lisa, I sent Lisa copies of the emails that we sent out as an at-large to our at-large. So if you have those, Lisa, you can, I don't know if where they're at or forward them, or I'm happy to send them to you so you can look at them at least and then either modify them or, not use them or whatever. But it may even just be a launching pad for you. Because your space and your students and your community the best. So however you want to adjust it.
Marion.
One of the things I will also ditto the communication. This group of girls, we have a local, but this group of girls, we have 12. We also have about 35 who sign up when they find out the information. But I think the Zoom, so we've used Sign Up Genius, where they have to go in and log in for we've had one-on-one times, we've had interview times, we've had self-expression times. And then they sign up. We do one Zoom call. We send them the link. We have them come to the waiting room. But we can do that at like 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. so that when we've had our one-on-one meetings, it's been like a Sunday afternoon. These, we've been able to spread those meetings over 3 nights. Not if we're late and they're late, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I think that Zoom has allowed these girls to stay more connected because we've been able to adapt to their schedule. They have not had to adapt to our schedule.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense. And so that's been really, really helpful. And I think that they have been more appreciative, and it's only been like, each girl has only had 15 or 20 minutes one-on-one, not like 3 hours where everybody's had to come and give up their afternoon. So we've been able to really kind of adapt, and that has kept this class, one, more about the experience and empowering these young women as opposed to the scholarship dollars. I don't think they all know they get scholarship dollars. I really don't think.
We realize because we stress so much how important the education, so to speak, that they get through the program, where you learn interview skills, public speaking, how to form an opinion and really present it in an eloquent and really affirmative way. We've stressed that so much this year that now that's transformed into what they equate with getting out of the program of, okay, well, I'm growing my self-confidence, my public speaking, etc. And every once in a while we have to be like, and probably scholarships. And so that's
not everybody has Darity's, tens of thousands of dollars to award.
So we've really focused on kind of switching to, you should be involved in this because look what you'll grow through, and look, in 5-10 years you will still have these skills. And when you go to college, and even this next year in high school, when you're meeting new people and you have to start interviewing for things, you will still use the skills that you learned right here at local or right there at state. And that's really they've really latched on to that because they can see, and we definitely see, a growth from the first day that they come to orientation, that everyone's nervous, they're not really sure what's going on, to that final night of the performance in the program where they can recognize that they've grown. And so in turn, they come back the next year and speak about it. And we have girls who come back every year and share, I was so quiet, I didn't talk to anyone, and then I got up on stage and I sang for the first time, or I could speak with confidence. And I think that rotation and coming full circle of the girls, of going through it and recognizing that and then coming back, has really left an impression on the current girls, saying, okay, I can do this and I want to be a part of it the whole time.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on Mimi real quick, because I think, you have a program, Mimi, that you and Mary have a program, so people in your community know about it. Darity has a really large presence in Idaho, so people know about it. I think where Michelle and Stacy and I, while Georgia has been around for a long time, it's still a very small program. And so most of the people that sign up don't know about it. But this generation of young ladies, and Sierra, I would say, if you, on your signature, you may want to put class of whatever in your signature line, because that'll give them a clue right away. But these young ladies are connecting with the terms personal development and network. Those are the ones that these young ladies, those are the buzzwords that they're hearing out there. And when we can say, just by participating, whether or not you qualify as a state finalist, what becomes open to you is the vast distinguished network that will be there for you for college letters, or sorority letters, or job applications, or connections, or mentoring, internships. We put that stuff out there because that's what it's becoming. That's what this program really is becoming in a lot of areas. I think the ones that have those really, really deep program roots, and everybody knows they want to participate because they know about the showcase and what it's always been, are going to participate in it because of that. But the ones that don't know about the program, don't have that emotional connection, they're going to come because of what this program can offer them in a business sense. And that's what, we're reaching students who are very driven for that. That we're starting to talk about that with them, rather than saying, okay, your resume building, but we start saying, you're going to need LinkedIn. That's going to become, that's the business world Facebook. That's the thing where your moms are on Facebook sharing recipes and cat videos. Everybody's over in LinkedIn talking about really business connections, and that's what you're going to need. So it just hits them in a different place. And so I think that's another communication tool that we use. We in Georgia really downplay our scholarships, mainly and a big reason because we don't have a lot of dollars to give away. So we don't want to sit there and set them up and say, yes, we're a scholarship program and you're going to have 24 girls come and you only have 6 of them that get any money. That's not what this is about. So the thing that's keeping them is that are those buzzwords.
Well, we are at 4:16, and I don't want to keep y'all if y'all have other things, but I do have a few things to wrap up. I can stay if y'all do want to continue, but a couple of things that, in case people need to go, that I want to tell y'all is yesterday we got on the topic of, and this is probably going to be more interesting to Corey and Sierra and Stacy and Darity. Tennessee's chair shared 2 things with us, and I put them in if y'all go into the Google Drive where the sign-up sheets were, you will see 2 Word documents. Those are samples of the email that the board sent out to all the participants and all the local chairs to let them know, where they are, I guess, in the middle of planning for the state program. They have moved their program from July all the way back into, I believe, January, and they have a November 30 date of what they're going to decide to do with their program, how they're going to do it. And then the other thing is one of the locals in Tennessee held an in-person showcase, similar. So those of you, well, this actually, it may be too late for you, but it may be something you're interested in, Corey. They did a waiver of an explanation. Now, I will tell you, this is what Kendra always says. Waivers are not legally enforceable, but they do make people stop and think about their behavior beforehand. So there are those 2 sample resources. And while we're talking about this, I read a tweet a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, I guess, from someone in the NCAA, I believe, or maybe it was the SEC, talking about how they had 20 scenarios for college football in the fall. I'm not telling y'all to have 20, but what I am telling programs right now who are, we're all waiting, and because the public health situation changes on a dime, I'm encouraging all of you to get with your committees sooner rather than later, contact your venues sooner rather than later, and have at least 3 plans. A fully, your traditional plan of, having the girls come in whenever you have them come in, having rehearsals whenever you plan to have them, and your live showcase. Because again, that's where you want to check to make sure your venue is not imposing additional monetary or personnel requirements on you. Second plan, a hybrid plan. Some in person and some digital. And then the third plan is fully digital. And like Tennessee did, set an end date that says we'll make the call here. And regardless of what it is, what the call for the state program or the local program will be dependent on the health and public safety circumstances on this day. And then just stick with it there. I am available to help y'all with anything y'all need, any graphics, any samples, anything. If I don't already have it, we can come up with something together, but just let me know. I can do some video stuff. It's not going to look like what Brian from Fusion Point did for the national program, but I can make some little, showcase videos. That's what Mark has been looking at.
She
he
can
looks
do
at all
better
my videos.
than some.
Well, it's okay. But so anything you want with enough lead time, we can make it happen. So. But I thank you all for using your Saturday to visit and share ideas. And like I said, this is recorded, so we will go up. I'll probably put them all up the second weekend in July, after I have chance to finish all 4 sessions. But thank y'all again. I hope y'all or will be watching tonight, and that y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see y'all soon.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Bye.